15 Things You Didn't Know About Julius Caesar. Welcome to Alux.com, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. Welcome to Alux.com, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. Welcome, dear Aluxers. Today we're going to talk about one of the most inspiring and influential individuals in human history, Julius Caesar. Caesar, being born into a patrician family and being the nephew of Consul Marius, acquired a solid education, which made his political career successful, even while he was quite young. He married a woman named Cornelia and was becoming a more prominent political figure when the threat of an opposing regime caused him to turn to military service. He actively participated in fights on the Aegean Sea against pirates, as well as in other land battles. After returning to a political career, he managed to strengthen Roman domination and solidify financial government. After confrontation with Pompeius and the Roman Senate, he moved on Rome with his army and pushed away his political opponents. When entering Italy, he said the famous words, "Alia jacta est," meaning the die is cast. Pompeius was defeated and eventually executed on the Egyptian coast, which helped Caesar to conquer Egypt. There he strengthened Roman influence and put Cleopatra on the throne. In Judea and Syria he conquered the Pontic king Phrenakes and sent the Senate a short message, Veni Vidi Vici, I came, I saw, I conquered. After he returned to Rome, he didn't accept a formal title, saying his name was Caesar and not emperor, yet he accepted dictatorial authority. He was to be a lifelong ruler and dictator. In March 44 BC, he was planning to engage in a last great military battle. However, before he even started his adventure, he was killed by a group of senators and the throne was taken over by Marcus Antonius. If you're new here, welcome. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on Instagram at Alux. Okay, that's enough with the background for now. Let's get to the 15 things you didn't know about Julius Caesar. Number 1. He was kidnapped by pirates when he was young. In 75 BC, 20-year-old Julius Caesar sailed from Rome to Rhodes on the Aegean Sea to learn under Apollonius, a Greek philosopher who also taught Cicero. While traveling toward Rhodes, pirates intercepted his ship and kidnapped him. When pirates requested ransom, Julius Caesar got mad because he thought they were asking for a humiliatingly low ransom. At his request, the pirates raised the ransom and Caesar was freed, but he promised that he would get his revenge. After his release, Caesar commanded a fleet that captured the pirates, and he had all who played a role in his kidnapping crucified. Number 2. He had a complicated love life. Caesar first married Cornelia in 84 BC when he was just a teen. After a few years, Roman general Lucius Cornelius Sulla became the dictator and ordered executions of all of whom he thought to be enemies of the state. The father of Caesar's wife was Sulla's opponent, so Sulla ordered him to divorce Cornelia, but he refused, even after he was stripped of his inheritance, his dowry, and his priesthood. Knowing that this decision could cost him his life, he escaped from Rome. Cornelia gave him a daughter, Julia, in 76 BC, and Cornelia died when Julia was 7. Caesar then married Pompeia, Sulla's granddaughter. He divorced her in 62 BC after she was involved in a scandal that reported her being in a compromising situation with another man. His third marriage was in 59 BC with Calpurnia, when he was around 41 years old and she was just 16. Known for being a ladies' man, Caesar had lots of mistresses. Some of the most famous ones were the Egyptian queen Cleopatra and Servilia, the mother of Marcus Lunius Brutus, who was the leader of conspirators who killed Caesar in 44 BC. Number 3. He had a son with Cleopatra. Caesar first went to Egypt in 48 BC to locate his political opponent Pompeius, and this is when he first met Cleopatra, who was then in a war with her brother, Ptolemy XIII, who she was married to and was a co-ruler with. Caesar named himself judge in this conflict and ordered the end of it. Cleopatra seduced Caesar, and in around 47 BC gave birth to a son named Ptolemus Caesar, whom Egyptians called Cesarean, meaning small Caesar. After Caesar's assassination in 44 BC and the suicide of Cleopatra and Marcus Antonius, Caesarion became the last pharaoh of Egypt. But his reign ended a short time later when his assassination was ordered by future Roman Emperor Augustus. Caesar apparently did not acknowledge his son, although he greatly resembled his appearance. Number 4. He is considered to be the father of the leap year and the modern calendar. Before Caesar became ruler, Romans used a calendar based on the lunar cycle that had 355 days in a year. This calendar was confusing because it didn't always coincide with the seasons, and politicians used its flaws to prolong their mandates. Caesar consulted an astronomer and then introduced the so-called Julian calendar, with 365 days. This calendar was coordinated with the Earth's movement around the sun. Since the solar year was a quarter day longer, Caesar added another day at the end of February every fourth year, now commonly referred to as a leap year. Number 5. He was stabbed 23 times, but only one wound was lethal. The senators who killed Caesar believed that no one had the right to have as much power as he had. Over 60 senators were involved in the assassination, and he was stabbed 23 times, but it's believed that just one stab to the chest was fatal. Many believe that Caesar's last words were "Et tu, Brute," meaning "even you, Brutus," but this is from a Shakespearean play and has no basis in historical facts. Number 6. The Ides of March became well known because of his death. March Ides, or the Ides of March, was the name in the Roman calendar for the 15th of March. This was a holiday in Rome in honor of Mars, the god of war. The name itself is still well known today, primarily because Caesar was murdered on that exact day. According to Greek historian Plutarch, a prophet warned Caesar that danger awaited him on the Ides of March, and he disregarded this warning. On his way to the Pompey Theater, he met with the prophet and said with a smile, "March Ides has arrived." The prophet responded, "Yes, they have, Caesar, but they didn't pass yet." Number 7. Caesarean section was named after him. Julius Caesar was born on the 13th of July in 100 BC, and there were notions that he was cut out of his mother's womb, which was the reason why this procedure was named after him. However, it's not very likely that he was delivered in this way, because in that time, Caesarean sections were usually fatal for the woman, because it was usually used on women that were dying in order to save the baby. It is known that Caesar's mother, Aurelia, lived until 54 BC, nearly half a century after she delivered him. Number 8. The month of his birth is named after him too. July gets its name from Julius, and this isn't the only month with a Roman background. June was named after Juno, who was the wife of Jupiter, while August was named after the emperor's nephew, Augustus. Number 9. He used a bay laurel wreath to cover baldness. Although many think that the bay laurel wreath he wore was a sign of Caesar's high rank, a form of a crown, he actually wore it to cover his increasing baldness. Number 10. Julius Caesar was left-handed. There are historic writings that the famous emperor was left-handed, although back then it was considered to be a less desirable trait and was even thought by many to be a sign of the devil. If you want to learn more about another famous left-handed person, click in the upper right-hand corner to watch our video of the 15 things you didn't know about Bill Clinton. Number 11. He had a serious medical condition. Medical scientists have investigated historical writings that Caesar suffered from dizziness and numbness in limbs, speculating whether he had epilepsy or some illness. Eventually, it was concluded that he had cardiovascular problems and suffered a series of strokes, which in later years led to a change in personality and depression. Number 12. His sister married his opponent. In order to strengthen alliances, Caesar married Antonius's daughter, while Antonius Octavian married Caesar's sister. The alliance didn't last long, and Caesar escaped to Egypt to his mistress Cleopatra. It was Octavian who ordered the murder of Caesar and Cleopatra's son. Number 13. He doubled the size of the Roman Empire. After conquering his rivals, Caesar consolidated his power, beautified Rome, and improved infrastructure. He enlarged the empire when he conquered Egypt, northern Spain, the Alps, and a good part of the Balkans. He was advancing toward Germany until 3 legions were destroyed by ambush, and he retreated west of the Rhine. Number 14. He banished his daughter. Although he led quite a volatile and passionate life, he publicly supported traditional values, built and renovated numerous temples, and encouraged marriages and family. When he discovered that his daughter Julia had slept with numerous influential Romans, he banished her to Ventone Island. He later let her move to a less isolated island, but never again saw her. He did something similar with his granddaughter, although historians claim that this decision was influenced by other factors. Number 15. He was a newspaper publisher. Caesar was the first publisher in Rome. He published the first Roman newspapers, named Acta Diurna or Acta Publica, with content that corresponded to today's daily papers. So, Aluxers, what do you think of all these less-known facts about the most famous Roman emperor? Which fact strikes you as the most unexpected? Please leave it in the comments below. And for those of you who have stayed with us to the end, here's another bonus fact. Caesar wasn't just an important and influential military man and politician. He was also one of the most important Roman writers. He described war in Gaul in his memoirs, De Bello Gallico, and civil war against Pompey in De Bello Civili. He wrote these works to show the success of his large military actions and the legal correctness of his political actions and decisions. Thank you for spending some time with us, Aluxer. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss a video. If you want more, we handpicked these videos you might enjoy, or head over to Alux.com for the best in fine living content on the planet. Be a part of the largest community of luxury enthusiasts in the world and tell your story.